Did you know that one of the most famous medieval warriors ever wasn't even a European? I mean, sure, there's the obvious Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, but they're not really known for their knightly prowess. Saladin, on the other hand, was a medieval warrior who could give Ivanhoe a run for his money. Salah al-Din, or Saladin as the Europeans called him, was the Muslim ruler of Egypt and Syria in the late 12th century, at a time when the Christian kingdoms of Europe were obsessed with the idea of chivalry. Saladin personified the ideals of courtly love and knighthood, at least in the eyes of his enemies. And it all started when he was just a kid. You see, Saladin was born into the family of a minor official in the service of the Caliph, the highest religious authority in Islam. But while he was still quite young, his father died and his family fell into some hard times. So to help out, Saladin took a job as a military secretary to a rival prince. Now, this rival prince was supposed to be getting married to Saladin's sister, but he ended up marrying her instead. So Saladin, feeling a bit spurned, defected to the Ayyubid dynasty, a family of Kurdish warriors who were trying to take over Egypt. He quickly rose through the ranks and became a general, conquering Jerusalem in 1187 and establishing the Kingdom of Jerusalem. Now, at this point, you might be thinking that Saladin was a bad guy, considering that he conquered Jerusalem, which is, of course, the holy city for Christians. But here's where things get complicated. See, Saladin wasn't a religious fanatic. In fact, he was known for his tolerance of other religions, even granting asylum to persecuted Jewish communities and building hospitals for both Muslims and Christians. Plus, he had a personal chivalric code that demanded mercy for those who surrendered and even offered his enemies generous terms after battle. This reputation for magnanimity made him famous throughout the medieval world, so much so that when the European Christians launched a crusade against him, it was led by a man named Richard the Lionheart, who was basically the medieval equivalent of a WWE superstar. And sure, Richard was a fierce warrior, but he also had a code of conduct that demanded fair play in battle and magnanimity towards his enemies. In fact, when Saladin and Richard finally met in battle, they fought 1-on-1, no holds barred, and Saladin bested him. So yeah, Saladin was a badass Muslim warrior who kicked Christian ass all over the Middle East and Europe in the late 12th century. And yet he was also a devoutly religious man, a generous benefactor to the poor and a model of tolerance and chivalry in a time of religious fanaticism. Basically, if you ever meet a guy named Saladin, buy him a beer. For more about legendary historical figures you won't learn anywhere else. Stay tuned.